You have walked past that gas station cigar rack 1,000 times, and every time it counted on you not looking. Almost everything on it is not a cigar at all. It is tobacco dust and floor scrap, ground up, glued back together, and printed to pass as a leaf. You have been reaching past the real ones and paying for the glue. But hiding in that same rack, at the same pocket change price, are 5 sticks wrapped in actual tobacco leaf. A couple of them show the wrapper veins right there in your hand at the counter, and one of them, the one sitting in a little freshness pouch by the register next to the gum, was rolled by hand in a real premium house, the kind that fills the humidors at a proper tobacco shop. You have reached 3 inches from it and never known. Today you will. That sheet is on the rack for one reason. It is cheaper and faster than winding a real leaf, and it holds a printed pattern that photographs like the real thing under the counter light. We count them down from 5. Before we count anything down, you need one test in your hand. It has 3 parts. 1, a whole tobacco leaf on the outside, not a pressed sheet of dust and glue. 2, real long filler tobacco packed inside, not chopped scraps swept off a floor. 3, and this is the bonus round, a real premium factory actually rolled it. You can shrink all 3 into one question you ask standing right at the rack. Could a real tobacco shop put this stick in their humidor without being embarrassed? 5 of them said yes. Number 5, La Aurora Principes. This one has been rolling longer than almost any name on earth. It comes out of the oldest cigar factory in the Dominican Republic, a house that has been rolling since 1903. Sit with that year for a second. 2 world wars had not happened yet, and this factory was already at work. Pull that little foil pack off the hook and turn it over in your hand. When the rollers at that factory build the premium cigars that fill real humidors, leaf falls off the table. Aged premium leaf, the trimmings from the good production, the offcuts of sticks that cost real money. Instead of sweeping it away, they pack it into the Principes. So the tobacco inside your pocket change foil pouch comes from the same premium leaf that factory works with every day, just the smaller pieces that never made the big cigar. The pedigree is premium, the body is not. It is machine-made, it is short filler, and the binder holding it together is not a whole leaf. Nobody hand-rolled this one. What you are actually buying is premium leaf in a humble body, sealed in foil so it survives a rack with no humidor. That is a real cigar wearing work clothes. And that is just the floor. Number 4, Baccarat The Game. This one hides in plain sight, and the disguise is the candy cap on the end. Everybody who walks past reads that candied tip is a gas station gimmick and keeps walking. That cap is a costume. Push your attention past it and look at what is actually rolled underneath, because underneath the cap sits a real Camacho cigar. Camacho is a serious Honduran name, the kind of house who sticks live behind glass. The Game is built on their Honduran Havana seed long filler, wound in a Honduran-grown Connecticut leaf. That is not scrap. That is a proper factory cigar that somebody decided to dress in a candy cap and price for the register. And long filler is the part that carries all the weight here. Long filler means whole leaves running the full length of the cigar, folded and bunched the way a real premium is put together. It is the exact opposite of the chopped scrap crammed into the junk beside it. Camacho did not have to put that construction inside a value stick. They did it anyway, and then they hid it under a cap that trains your eye to slide right past it. The costume is why you dismissed it. The costume is also why it earns a spot. A gimmick you can see is often hiding a real cigar you cannot. The one right after this lets you win the argument with your own eyes, right there at the rack, with nothing but your thumb. Number 3, Garcia Vega Game Leaf. Now to the wrapper itself, because this is where you can win the argument with your own eyes. Almost everything in the cigarillo rack is finished in a printed, reconstituted sheet. Game Leaf is one of the last machine made still finished in a genuine all-tobacco natural leaf from a brand that has carried its name since 1882. Roll one slowly between 2 fingers at the counter. A real leaf shows you its veins, those fine raised lines running the length of it. A sheet is flat and dead, and even printed veins that go nowhere. A machine can print you a picture of a leaf. It cannot print the veins a leaf grew for itself. This one has the real thing on the outside. That vein check is the single most useful thing you can carry into any gas station, and it costs you nothing. Run your thumb along the wrapper. Real leaf has texture, a spine, tiny imperfections from where it grew in a field. The printed sheet is perfect and identical every time, because a machine printed it to be. And a brand does not keep a real natural leaf on a cheap product for a century and a half by accident. Garcia Vega has carried its name a very long time, and this leaf is a big part of why anyone still trusts it. it. The real leaf here is the wrapper, and only the wrapper. The filler inside is short, Cuban seed tobacco, not a long filler bunch. So call it exactly what it is, real tobacco wrapped, for under $2. The wrapper is real leaf, and your own thumb just told you so at the counter. But every stick so far has still been machine-made underneath. The next one is the most real leaf on the entire rack, a whole tobacco leaf where everyone else is faking one. Quick one before number 2, because this is the whole reason this channel exists. We dig through the cheap racks and find the real tobacco hiding on them, so you stop handing money to a printed sheet. Subscribe and you will never overpay for glue again. Number 2, Backwoods Original. Strip the marketing off and here is the reveal. This is not a leaf look. It is not a sheet cut to resemble bark. Backwoods Original is wound in a whole, genuine Connecticut Broadleaf tobacco leaf, the entire real thing, with that rough, shaggy foot left open at the end. Nearly everything else on the rack is pretending to be a leaf. This one simply is one. On the single question of whose leaf is the most real leaf on that gas station rack, this is the answer. The filler inside is honest tobacco too, all of it, not swept scrap. Look at that open foot, the rough end where the leaf is not tucked down neat and clean. That is not a defect, and it is not a marketing gimmick bolted on afterward. It is what a real whole leaf looks like when it is wound around real filler and deliberately left rustic. You cannot fake that shaggy end with a printed sheet, because a sheet has no body to give. Hold one next to any pressed sheet, stick beside it on the rack. Same shelf, same price. One has the weight and the give of a real leaf in your fingers. The other is stiff and flat and hollow. Two completely different objects at the same money. One correction people always get wrong, because it matters for trusting the source. This is not made by the Black and Mild people. It is built by Altadis USA, a full cigar house that rolls under its own roof. It is still a machine-made short filler, not a hand roll, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. But if the whole game came down to nothing more than the most real leaf on the rack, this would top the list. It does not, because one stick on that rack was not machine-made at all. Number 1, Macanudo Rothschild, the one in the freshness pouch by the register. Where this one sits is the tell. Not out on the open rack with the others, but sealed in a little plastic pouch right by the register, next to the gum and the lighters. This one is not on that spectrum at all. Everything else on this list is a value stick built well. This one is a genuine premium house cigar that simply walked out onto the rack, a different species that wandered into the wrong aisle. Here is the single fact that lands it at number 1. A genuine General Cigar Premium, a fully handmade Dominican long filler under a Connecticut shade wrapper leaf, the exact kind of stick that lives in a real humidor behind the glass, chose to sit in a plastic pouch next to the gum and the lighters. This is not a sheet and not a pressed binder. It is a hand-bunched long filler, rolled by hand, under a real whole wrapper leaf. Everything the test asked for, all 3 parts. Yes, on all 3. And the pouch is the whole trick. A handmade premium normally dies on a rack with no humidor and dries out inside a week. This one ships sealed in its own freshness pouch that works as a single-use humidor. One cigar, one little sealed climate, hanging on a hook by the register. That pouch is the reason a humidor cigar can survive next to the beef jerky. Picture the one cigar you actually kept, the one you grabbed on a whim by the register because it turned out to be the real thing. That is the one that ends up in a drawer instead of an ashtray. Understand who General Cigar is before you shrug at the name. This is one of the largest premium houses in the world. The people behind sticks that sit under glass at a real tobacco shop with a real price on them. That is the entire distance between this stick and everything else we just counted. The other 4 are the best value the rack has to offer. This one came off the same benches that fill the humidors behind the glass, and it brought its own little climate with it so it could survive the trip. So go back to the top. I told you one of these was rolled by hand in a real premium house, sitting 3 inches from the register, and that you had reached past it 100 times without knowing. This is the one. The house is General Cigar. The proof is the handmade long filler and the whole wrapper leaf you are holding in your hand. You do not need a humidor to own a humidor cigar. You just need to know which pouch to grab. And the price, now that the case is closed, is about $7. Nothing else on any rack, at any counter, does this. That is why it is number 1. 5 sticks. 5 completely different ways to smuggle real tobacco onto a gas station rack. Premium offcut leaf sealed in a foil pouch. a Camacho hiding under a candy cap, a real natural leaf wrapper buried in the cigarillo rack, a whole Connecticut Broadleaf leaf where everyone expected a sheet, and a genuine handmade premium parked by the register. Different tricks, one rule holding all of them up. Real leaf, real filler, real factory. And never once a pressed sheet of dust and glue printed up to fool you into thinking it is a leaf. Remember where we started. Almost everything on that rack is not rolled in tobacco at all. Almost. These 5 are real cigars. If this saved you from one more printed sheet, subscribe so the next rack does not fool you either. Then tell me in the comments which of the 5 you have actually had in your hand at the counter.